joining. Try another way. I don't know what that means. Hey guys, how are you? How are you? Good to see you guys. Thank you for so much for coming in. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for inviting. For those of you who are new to me, I am Jennifer Yarbrough. I am your nonprofit expert. Over 30 years of doing this work of helping nonprofit leaders start, grow, and sustain their nonprofit businesses. So for those of you who are new to me, thank you so much for joining in. Listen, in 2019, I have really set my intention to help 1,000 nonprofits to be fully funded. 1,000 nonprofits to be fully funded. Now let's talk about what it means to be fully funded and what it means to start your organization with the intention. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you. For how you start your nonprofit. All right, let's talk about how you start your nonprofit. Many of you want to start a nonprofit. Who wants to start a nonprofit? Say me, me, me. I want to start a nonprofit, Jen. I've always wanted to start a nonprofit. I want to start a nonprofit because I've gone through some things. I don't want anyone else to go through those things. I want to serve and help a particular population because I think the need is great and I believe that I am the solution. Okay, so for whatever reason that you want to start your nonprofit, it is critical that you start your nonprofit with the right setup. All right, with the right setup so that you are set up to be fully funded, that you are set up to be sustainable. All right, so when you are looking to start your nonprofit, start with the right setup. Hashtag setup. Start with the right setup. So when you are about to start your nonprofit, I want you guys to consider these 4 things so that you are set up for sustainability, that you are set up to be fully funded, okay? I am a professional fundraiser. I am a grant writer by profession, 34 years. I have raised and written for hundreds of millions of dollars for the nonprofit industry. This is all I've ever done. I've not done anything else but to help organizations start, grow, and sustain themselves. Thank you so much for the hashtag. I appreciate you. So guys, when I'm talking to you about starting your nonprofit, it is critical that you start with the right setup. So these are 4 things that I want you all to consider that that you have in place when you are starting, all right, to making sure that you have the foundation and being set up for sustainability, okay? Now, if in fact you started and you said, Jen, I'm stuck. I'm paying for everything out of my pocket. I don't have a board. I don't have a working board. I am not getting the support from my community that I need, then I would say we want to revisit how you set up your nonprofit, how you set it up, all right? So number 1, guys, the first thing that you want to consider when you are starting your nonprofit is that you want to first know what the need is. First, know what the need is, all right? You have got to be the expert as the need. You've got to be the person in your community that is the go-to. Your organization is going to be that pillar of change. Your organization is going to be that pillar of hope, right? So that means you as the leader, you've got to understand not just what you want to do, but you've got to understand what you want to do as it's filling a need, as it is filling a gap in your community. We don't start our nonprofit communities, businesses because of passion. Passion alone is not going to get you funded, all right? So you as the leader of your organization has got to understand the need of the community, right? So you now know the need of the people that you're serving, right? They need clothes, they need housing, they need food, they need mentoring. That's a need, but you also have got to know how does their individual need meet the community need. You've got to know the need within the community that you are meeting. Why is that important? Because it's your community that is going to be supporting your organization on an ongoing basis. The people that you serve, that need of the people, they're not writing you no checks. They ain't got no money. They're not writing you any checks. They're not supporting you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So as a leader, we can be so focused on the need of the people. That's great. That's wonderful. But we've also got to be able to articulate the need to the community because this is where our support comes from. Does that y'all got that? Y'all got this? Okay? So we've got the needs of the people. Jen, the people need food. The people need jobs. The people need housing. The people need mentoring. The people need coaching. The people need clothes. The people need to start a business. They need. but I've also got to tie it into the community need. How does what we do meet the need, meet the gap in the community? Because the community is where the money is coming from. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? All right? So you've got to have your finger on the pulse of your community, not just the people that you're serving. All right? We've got to educate, we've got to inform, we've got to inspire, we've got to engage, we've got to influence. We've got to draw the community into our organization as the solution to this audience's need. And by serving the needs of this audience, it is improving the overall community at large. Does that make sense? Give me some hearts if that makes sense. Guys, listen to me. I have been doing this for 30 years, 34 years actually. Thank you for the hearts. And I'm telling you, fundraising. For those of you who say, Jen, I say, what is your greatest need? You're like, Jen, we don't have any money. Jen, we need funding. I'm like, okay, where does the funding come from? The funding comes from the community, your businesses, your industries, your funders, your community partners, your in-kind, your sponsors, your grant donors. They come from the community. So what does that mean? That means I have got to educate, inspire, inform, engage, influence. Who? The community. That means I've got to invite, engage in them to say our organization is the solution to a community need. All right? That's number one. If your organization is set up in 2019 to be fully funded, that means you have got the attention, the awareness, the validity, and you are able to share with your community why your organization is relevant. Relevant, not just in activity, because they don't support activity. Activity is not impact. Activity is not impact. Activity is not impact. Let me say that one more time. Activity is not impact. All right? So you want to be able to share that your organization knows what the need is. That's number one. Number two is that you want to be able to communicate that your organization is the change. That's what impact is. Impact is change. All right? Not activity. Impact is change, not activity. So you've got to be able to what? Articulate the change. That people come in your organization one way and they leave a different way. They come in one way, they leave a different way. So what is it that you are communicating to those within your community? That we are meeting the need. This is how we're meeting the need. This is the result of our program. This is how many people we're serving. This is what is the result in the community. We're saving. We are lowering. We are reducing. We are affecting change in a positive way as it relates and as a result of our program, right? So these are the things that inspire your letters, your communications, your introductions, your meetings, your proposals when you are looking for funding. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Thank you guys for coming in and thank you for sharing and for inviting. Who am I? I am Jennifer Yarbrough. I am your nonprofit expert, guys. I help you not only start your nonprofit. Start your nonprofit is easy. Sustaining your nonprofit is where you guys are struggling. Getting the money and the resources and the community support is where you're struggling, right? You're like, Jen, I got my piece of paper, honey. I got my piece of paper. I got 3 people on my board, but I'm paying for everything out of my pocket. That is not how it's set up. That is not how it's set up, right? We are an organization that should make a profit. I know there's a lot of people who joke about the nonprofit being broke. But our organizations should be fully funded. I've been doing this for 34 years. And every organization that I ever worked for, I got paid. I got paid and we were fully funded, right? I've worked with national, international organizations. I'm telling you how it's done. All right? I've done it. And not only have I been the fundraiser, been the grant writer, I want to show you all how to be the leader, how to be the executive director, because I was that too. The executive director that says, I've got to manage community, I've got to manage program, I've got to manage staff, I've got to manage budget, I've got to manage impact, I've got to manage the evaluation, and I've got to manage the budget that says what? Revenue and expenses. Revenue and expenses. So how is it that your organization is able to strategically grow? That means you as the executive director have got to be able to manage revenue and expenses. If you only think about program ain't nothing but a big old expense, honey. It ain't nothing but an expense. I got staff, I got supplies, I got materials, I got equipment, I got this, I got that. Expense. But in order for this program, this expense, to be able to operate and to grow, what do I need? Revenue. Where does revenue come from? Revenue comes from your community, your partners, your donors, your funders, your collaborators, your sponsors, right? There are 9 streams of income. You've got to be able to manage 9. That ain't a lot to manage, y'all. What? 9 streams of income? That ain't nothing but a party all day. Are you managing 9 streams of income? Revenue. Your revenue coming in, what? From your community helps you meet the needs of the individuals. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Give me some hearts if that makes sense. Thank you guys for coming in. Listen. All right, so number 2. Number 1 is that you understand the need. Number 2 is that you are able to communicate and articulate. Hey, good to see you, Lanika. Thank you for watching. That you are able to articulate that you are able to articulate, right, your impact. What is impact? Change, not activity. Change, not activity. All right? That's number 2. That when you are setting up your nonprofit, when you are starting your nonprofit, right? Many of us start our nonprofit saying, I need to get, I'm trying to tell some local EDs to please start thinking like a for-profit business. Absolutely. Absolutely. Your donors and your funders today are savvy, and they are saying, listen, there are so many options. There are more nonprofits today than there was 34 years ago when I started. When I started in this industry, there weren't as many nonprofits as there are today, right? So the asks were different. The assessment and even the qualifications of getting funding was different. Nowadays, because of the number of asks, because of the number of great ideas in the community, because of the needs that are so specialized right now, right? Specialized needs. When you're talking about mental health, when you're talking about addictions, when you're talking about people who are coming out of prison, and reunification, when you're talking about job creation, these are things that are going to need some type of professional influence or expertise to lead them for change. Activity is not impact. And so now your funders are saying, listen, we want to fund those organizations who are able to really demonstrate and articulate change. Why? Because there are so many options that we have to choose from as it relates to organizations. There is no shortage of a nonprofit. And so they're not running around saying, hey, support our organization because you get a tax write-off. That's not why they support. They support your organization. Why? Because they believe in your change. They believe that you are that change. They trust your ability to lead change. And you now are transparent and are able to communicate back to them the return on their investment. Impact. Change. All right? Change. Does that make sense? All right, so number 3. This is all, guys, in your startup. This is the conversation that you're having. This even helps you identify, which goes to number 3. This goes to number 3, of who are the people that you want to ask to be a part of your leadership, right? You as the leader, hashtag leader, hashtag leader. You are not a program person alone. You did not start your nonprofit, a whole nonprofit business, to only do program. Your program is what? A list or a group of activities that are strategically designed to bring about change. That is what your program is. Your program is a list or a group of activities that are strategically designed to bring about change. That's number 2, right? And the change is a result of what you know is the solution to the need, which is number 1. You see how that line of thinking goes? So you don't have a vision first. You say, Jen, this is my vision. This is my vision. The Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. All right? I'm helping y'all make this vision plain. Write the vision, make it plain. This is what my vision is, Jen. Your vision should be change, not activity. Your vision should be change, not activity. And based upon what the change is, I want people to come into our program. I want them to be empowered. I want them to be equipped. I want them to be able to go and to get jobs. I want them to be self-sufficient. I want them to be contributing citizens, in whatever your vision is. That means right now they're not that. That means right now the people that you are serving are not that. Right? So now they come into your organization, and you understand what caused them to be in that situation. What caused you to be here? What caused you to be in need? What caused you to need our help? What are the factors that contribute to you being a part of the problem, the community problem? Knowing and assessing that says we are the change. We are the program that can help you change. Does that make sense? So when you are putting together, which is number 3, the leadership, you are the executive director. And so you want to make sure that you are putting people in place that are like-minded, that are passionate, not just because of your program. They are passionate about the cause. They are passionate and committed to change. They are passionate and committed based upon their experiences. They know they have resources. They have connections. They have influence in your community to help this organization, not you, but the organization, not you. The impact, not you. The cause of change, not you, to move forward. This is why some people tell you, go out there and get your mother, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your cat, your dog, your fish. Put 3 people down, and you got a whole piece of paper. All you got is a piece of paper. I got a piece of paper, Jen. My piece of paper says that I'm a 501c3. I started, Jen. I got a 501c3. I started, Jen. We filed our paperwork. I started, Jen. Now what we gonna do? You still paying for it out of your pocket? Listen, guys, without these 4 things as a part of your setup, you're going to stay a startup. You started. I started, Jen. I got 4 people on my board. I got a whole piece of paper, Jen. We got a program. We're serving some people, Jen. We're doing great work. We're doing great work, Jen. But nobody knows about it. And we're paying for everything out of our pocket. I'm like, you set it up to be a startup. You understand what I'm saying? You set it up to be a startup. I set up nonprofits to be sustainable. I set up nonprofits to be fully funded. I'm like, why are we doing this? Your whole piece of paper says that you're going to have some money coming in. When you applied for your piece of paper, it says, how much money are you going to bring in? It says, where's your money going to come from? That's what it says. So there's a difference of, Jen, I want to start a nonprofit startup class. Did that startup class tell you how to be set up for sustainability? I doubt it. If it were so, why are so many people broke? Why are so many nonprofits paying for it out of their own pocket? Do you guys not think that's interesting? I think it's interesting. Particularly when I've worked with organizations that ain't nobody paid for nothing out of their pocket. We are a community-based organization. We are meeting and serving a need in the community. We are doing what the businesses cannot do. We do what the government cannot do. We meet a need as the first responder in many of our communities. Our communities support our work. That's what happens. That's what happened. We've been around since what? 1600s, y'all. The nonprofit has been around since the 1600s. This thing ain't new. Since the 1600s. We ain't going nowhere. Through economic fall, through decline, through everything, through trauma, through disaster, who do they go to? They go to our organizations. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? All right. So number 3, guys, is that you want to make sure that when you are setting up your nonprofit, not just with the startup, but when you are setting up your nonprofit, you are setting your nonprofit up for sustainability. That means the leadership, that your board, the people that you bring to work alongside you in partnership, your board is your partner. Your board is your partner. I know for many of you, you're saying, well, Jen, I don't want my board to be able to fire me. I don't know where these fables come from. Truly, this stuff is crazy to me. Jen, I don't want my board to be able to fire me. Why do people get fired? Because they deserve to be fired. Nobody board just walks in the room one day and says, you know what? I don't like you. I'm going to fire you. That's not what happens. It puts the whole organization in jeopardy. That is not what happens. All right? I've been through it. I'm telling you. 34 years of it. That is not how it works. So you want to make sure that you are engaging with people in your community who are like-minded, who believe that the problems in your community can be solved, and that your organization is that solution. So they work alongside you. They have the time, they have the experience, they have the influence, they have the relationships to help your organization to be able to what? Reach more people that are reached, more people that know about what you do. The more people that know about what you do, the more people that then believe in what you do and then support what you do, right? On an ongoing basis. How does that ongoing basis happen? You are able to consistently and continually articulate impact, change, result, solution. Your organization is a solution. All right? Hashtag my mission matters. Y'all, your mission matters. Your mission matters. There are at least 1,000 people right now who woke up saying, I am praying for a solution to my problem. I am praying for a solution to my problem. Your organization is that solution. All right? So you want to be able to share, inspire, and motivate, engage. And not only you, but you want to surround yourself on your board with a group of people who understand the problem and how to help you communicate your organization as a solution. So they don't just have role and responsibility on the board. They have role and responsibility in the community. They are engaging. They are influencing. And if they're not, I submit to you it's because they're not clear about how to articulate the impact, not because they don't want to. I submit to you that it's because they are not clear on how to articulate the impact. All right? They're passionate. They love you. They love the cause, but they're not clear on how to articulate the impact. All we got to do is show them. That's it. You just tell them how to do it. That's easy. That's easy. All right? So number 3 is leadership. The last one, guys, is number 4. The number 4, guys, is you want to be sure that you understand the budget. You want to know going in how much money do you need to raise each and every year, and then break that down each and every month. All right? When I'm raising money for the organizations that I work with, I can't say, Jen, I need $1 million, at the end of the year. What does that mean? That means every month I've got to bring in almost, $10,000 every month. In order for me to reach my goal by the end of the year, I've got to have the systems, I've got to have the tools, I've got to have the opportunities for people to give to our organization each and every month. You've got to set your organization up for this. This is not the startup. You don't get in it first and then say, oh my God, Jen, we've got a nonprofit, but we're paying for everything out of our pocket. Jen, now we need money. Now we need money, Jen. We need a grant. I started my nonprofit because I was told that I could get a grant after I got my nonprofit started. That's crazy. That's crazy. Jen, I was told that if I go and file this piece of paper, I could get a grant. Let's just think about that. I get a piece of paper, and now I can get a grant? That's not how that works. How do you get a grant? You get a grant, what does the proposal say? The proposal says, what's the need? How is your organization the solution? Who are the leaders, right? They want to know who is it that's managing and leading your program and your organization. And then they want to know, how much money do you make? How much money do you have coming in? How much money is going to come in after this program is over? Does that make sense? So this is how you set it up. You set it up to say, all right, I got a whole program. And these are the things that we're going to do in our program. What again is a program? A program is a group of activities that are strategically designed to bring about change, outcome, impact, right? What is impact? Impact ain't nothing but change, okay? So you want to be able to articulate the change through the activities of your program. And so when you are setting up your nonprofit, you want to make sure as the leader, you understand revenue and expenses. you understand how much does it cost to run my program? How much does it cost to run my organization? How many people do we need to hire? What are the expenses associated with operations and with program? Understanding what that is, you then identify what are the streams of income that our organization needs to be able to implement and execute so that our community, because that's where money comes from, our community comes with donors, funders, supporters, in-kind, sponsors, right, grant funders, annual donors, major donors, right? So you got all these streams of income that is coming from your community. That means you want to make sure that you've got multiple ways for them to support your organization every single month. The monies that are coming in every single month transition into your ability to achieve your annual budget. You got a whole annual budget that you got to manage. Revenue, right? So how are our organizations fully funded? Those 4 things, guys. That's it. Starting and setting up a nonprofit is not that hard, okay? And let me tell you this. Uncle Google and YouTube University is not the place to learn. They've never done it, okay? You want to make sure that you are getting credible information that's going to help you execute and implement right away. All right, right away. Why is right away important? Because you've got right away expenses. You've got right away needs to implement and execute your program. It needs to be right away. Guys, I started this work, I wrote my first grant as a student. I was an intern, and I wrote my first grant for a class assignment for $250,000. That was over $400 million ago, all right? I then went on to become a fundraiser. I became a professional fundraiser, and I've raised hundreds of millions of dollars. I then went on to become the executive director of the American Red Cross, the executive director of some other nonprofit organizations that are not as well known, and then being a trainer for national and international organizations. I was hired to train in organizations close to 500 new executives and board members each and every year. That was my job. My job was to come into these organizations and say, okay, where are you? Where's your budget? Let's put you together a plan and a strategy to raise money quickly. Why was it important that we were able to raise money quickly? Because we had salaries to pay. We had salaries to pay. We had expenses. We had buildings. There was all kinds of stuff, insurances that needed to happen. So I had to come in and say, okay, this is how we're going to put together your plan and your strategy to raise money. It's like that, okay? It does not require that you set up for 6 months trying to plan all these events. That's not how it happens, all right? So I want you all to be very encouraged. I want you all to be encouraged. I want you guys to be open to learning what you don't currently know. I want you to be open to that. Thank you so much for the hearts. I appreciate you. Those of you who are coming in, thank you to the replay viewers as well. I'm about to go, but I just really wanted to come on this morning and say, listen, I am working really hard this year to work for 1,000 nonprofits. 1,000 nonprofits. I want to have to be fully funded in 2019. And by fully funded, I mean that you are able to have all of your expenses covered and that you then are able to focus on program implementation. Hey, Junior, program implementation. All right, I want your focus to be on delivering a program that is impactful, that you can be debt-free in your organizations. Guys, I've done this work for 34 years. The organizations that I've worked for were fully funded. It is not atypical. It is not unusual. All right? So for those of you who are struggling, do you know that 82% of nonprofit organizations struggle, and they don't have to? Why do they struggle? Why do you think nonprofits struggle financially? Why do you think funders are hesitant to give to nonprofit organizations? because they're missing those 4 things. Thank you, Ms. Bree. They're missing those 4 things. And your funder is saying, I can't give to an organization that's not set up for these 4 things. Why? Because then they feel like they're giving their money in a black hole. They're like, I'm giving money, but I'm not seeing a result. I'm not seeing an impact. And there's no shortage of nonprofits. So how do you set your organization above all of the noise of the other nonprofits? How do you set yourself above as competitive? How do you set yourself above as being attractive to your funders? By setting up with these 4 things. Guys, if you are going to start a nonprofit, please start it with the right setup. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to do this thing, can we set it up the right way, please? And if you find that your nonprofit is stuck, if you're saying, Jen, I started my nonprofit, but we're not making any money. I'm paying for everything out of my pocket. We've been doing this thing for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4. Then I would say, which of the 4 areas did you not set up properly? Which of the 4 areas did you say, yeah, I didn't do that? Then that's all right. Let's just do it. That's it. Let's just do it. Do not stay in that place. Why? Because the longer you stay in a place where you're not fully funded, the place where you are not set up for sustainability, your community is not getting the services that it needs. That's the reality. You're not hurting anybody but your community. By saying, Jen, I know I need to learn more. I know I need to get a training. I know I need to work with you. I know I need to get in one of your classes. I know that. And the longer you don't, do you know the number of people whose needs are going unmet? I'm in this, guys, for the community. We are a community-based organization. We are a service of helps. We are a ministry of helps. We are beacons of change. We do the work that we do. Thank you so much for inviting your followers. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pastor Harper. We do so much of what we do, guys, for change. So I want you to be clear. These 4 things. Set up your nonprofit. It's not just I want to go to a nonprofit startup class. But if you start without setting it up the right way, you will remain a startup. If you start it up without the right setup, you will remain a startup. But if you set it up the right way, you then are setting it up for sustainability. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? That you guys can be sustainable. It's not impossible. It ain't even far-fetched. It can happen like this. I'm working with clients now. I've got a lady, we just got her almost 500, if not more now, new donors in less than 4 months. New donors. Do you know how much money that is? Do you know the potential of money on a regular basis? Are you kidding me right now? In 4 months. What did we do? We set her up the right way. We set her up. We said, let's start talking about the need. Let's start talking about your organization as a solution. Let's start talking about impact. Let's develop you and your leadership, you and the board, to be able to articulate the change, the why that change is important, why that change is relevant for now. And let's talk about what the money is going to. You can't pay for a life being changed. That's priceless. You can't change. You can't put a price tag on someone's life being restored. You can't put a price tag on that. What you can put a price tag on is how much does it cost for a person to come through our program, and how much are we saving the community by having our program available. Now that's when you can talk about cost. Does that make sense? All right, guys, so listen, I'm going to go. I just want to come on and say happy Monday. Listen, we're into February. What are you waiting on? We're into February. What are you waiting on? What are you waiting on? Before you know it, the first quarter is going to be gone. And then we're going into the second half of 2019 already. All right? If you are looking to start your nonprofit, then please let me help you set it up the right way. Let me help you set it up the right way. All right? I'm going to be in Dallas next Wednesday. Dallas, February 13th. I'm going to be doing a 1-day training. a whole one day, from 9 a.m. to about 5 or 6 p.m. And we're going to be talking about how to set your organization up for sustainability. We're going to go through every single area of your nonprofit. We're going to talk about your program. We're going to talk about your evaluation. We're going to talk about your board. We're going to talk about fundraising. We're going to talk about grant writing. We're going to talk about community. We're going to talk about the streams of income. We're going to be talking about how do you communicate and articulate impact. We're going to be talking about every single area of your nonprofit, because we got to make sure that you're set up the right way, right? So I'm going to spend a whole day. It's only $197. If you are in the Dallas area, meet me in Dallas, all right? Meet me in Dallas next Wednesday, February 13th, all right? You can go to paypal.me/JY Consulting, paypal.me/JY Consulting. It's $197 all day on the 13th. And I'm going to be taking your program, taking your organization, and we're going to be walking through the real tools and the templates. You guys, let me take you through the process of what it is to be sustainable. All right? I've done this work. I've helped thousands, nationally and internationally. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. And it is my burden to help 1,000 leaders to be fully funded in 2019. So if you're looking to start your nonprofit, if you're looking to move your nonprofit, if you're looking to grow your nonprofit, if right now you find yourself stuck, if you are a ministry, particularly, if you are a ministry, if you have a shelter, if you have a program that is helping youth or the elderly or veterans, I have raised money for every single cause. Whatever you got going on, I'm sure I've raised money for it. I'm sure I have. All right? So I can take where you are, wherever you are. Jen, I just have an idea. I haven't started yet. This is for you. Jen, I'm paying for everything out of my pocket. I'm paying for everything out of my pocket. This is for you. Jen, I have a board, but they're not helping me, and I don't know what to do. This is for you. We got to get you set up so that your organizations can be sustainable. You want to attract donors. You want to get a grant. You want to hire a grant writer. Then let's set you up so that the grant writer can have something to propose to a funder that they would want to fund. All right? I am a grant writer. I am a grant reviewer. So I want to help you understand how your proposal should be set up, not only for review, but for funding. All right? There's a different criteria for submitting your proposal. Just like there's a criteria for applying for your nonprofit. Anybody can apply for a nonprofit. But it takes a certain criteria to be sustainable, to be fully funded. That's not every nonprofit, right? So that means there are certain things that you've got to do in order to get the attention of the donor and in order for your organization to be fully funded. There are certain things you have to do. It's not everybody. If that were true, everybody would have grants. Everybody who has a piece of paper would be fully funded, right? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Are there any questions? Are there any questions? For those of you who are on Periscope, I've got a whole new community. It's called Fully Funded Nonprofits Impacting Lives. It's my community on Facebook. Fully Funded Nonprofits Impacting Lives is my community on Facebook. One more time. Fully Funded Nonprofits Impacting Lives is my new community. I've been in Facebook jail since November. So for those of you on Facebook, I've had to redo my page and all of that other good stuff. So I'm moving things over to my new page because Mark ain't got nothing else to do than harass me. So we're going to go ahead and move forward, all right? Are there any questions? This coming Thursday, I am doing a fully funded fundraising class. I am going through doing a 6-week masterclass. I am helping nonprofit organizations raise money for the next 6 weeks. We are going into putting together our strategies, our letters, our conversations. I'm helping them to pitch their ask. I'm helping them put together their letters and their introductions. I'm going to be, as a professional fundraiser, helping organizations put together their professional fundraising systems and plan and strategy and action. All right? We are fundraising for the next 6 weeks. So if you would like to be a part of this fully funded 6-week masterclass, we start on Thursday. We meet every Thursday for 6 weeks. Every Thursday for 6 weeks. And in between those weeks, they're fundraising. They're calling donors. They're calling sponsors. They're scheduling meetings. And I'm telling them what to say. I'm saying, okay, when you call this person, this is what they're going to want to need to hear. And this is what you're going to say. And when they say this, this is what you say. Okay, now you're going to write a letter. This is what you say in the letter. And this is how you follow up to that letter. I know for many of you, you're like, Jen, I don't know what to do first. I don't know how to start. I don't know what to do first, right? So I am taking individuals through 6 weeks of fundraising masterclass, okay? And we are going to raise money. And so they are already starting to work. They've got some pre-work. We're putting together their asks right now, even before class starts. So if you guys want to be a part of that, and if you say, Jen, I need to learn how to raise money. My organization needs funding on that ongoing basis. We talked about your annual budget and how do we get money coming in every single month, every single month, every single month, every single month. So this is what I'm taking them through in the fully funded fundraising masterclass, okay? If you guys are interested in that, then feel free to just get on my calendar and let's talk about the details of that. Get on my calendar and let's talk about the details of that. We start on Thursday, 6 weeks. Thursday, 6 weeks. You can get on my calendar. For those of you in Periscope, my calendar is in the profile, bit.ly/time with Jen, bit.ly/time with Jen. The T, the W, and the J are capitalized. The T, the W, and the J are capitalized. For those of you who are on Facebook, I will put it in the comments below. All right? Are there any questions, you guys? Any questions at all? Just get on my calendar. It's a 20-minute consult. If you're like, Jen, I heard you, but I didn't get everything you said, then just go ahead and get on my calendar, and I will gladly break it down for you. Gladly break it down. For those of you guys who are watching me, again, for the first time, I am Jennifer Yarbrough. I am your nonprofit expert, over 30 years of experience, helping nonprofit organizations start, grow, and sustain themselves. Here in 2019, I have committed to helping 1,000 nonprofits to be fully funded. I'm going to use every ounce of my 34 years of experience of not only working in the nonprofit, but running nonprofits and training thousands of nonprofit leaders, nationally and internationally, to help you all focus on doing your program debt-free so that you can continue to serve your community to the highest level. I am so tired of nonprofit organizations struggling. I am so tired of leaders who have great programs but don't have the knowledge and the information necessary to be fully funded. All right? So I'm taking you guys into the world of fully funded nonprofits and showing you how it's done. I'm showing you how it's done. Okay? How it's done. Get on my calendar, reach out to me, say, Jen, I want to do this, or I'm interested in this, or what do you think I should do to make sure that our organization is set up the right way. Now, startup is, I got my paperwork filed. Clearly, you need more than that, right? So I want to make sure that you have everything that you need so that your organizations can be fully funded and sustainable now, so that the programs that you deliver can change and impact lives now. All right? Thank you guys for your time, for your attention. I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of this week as we kick off February. Be your best. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it the right way. Go for it the right way. And if I could be of any help at all, I am here to help you and to share my 34 years of experience with you. All right? I'm not going to lead you wrong. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to show you how to get set up so that you guys can go on and be sustainable. That's important to me. All right? That's important to me. Thank you guys. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right?